The narrator recalls that when she was about 12 years old, she lived in a small village in North Karnataka with her grandparents. In those days, transport facilities were poor, so newspapers and magazines arrived late in the afternoon. The arrival of the bus was a big event because it brought letters, newspapers, and weekly magazines. At that time, a famous Kannada writer named Kaveri was very popular. One of her novels, Kashi Yatre, was being published as a serial in a weekly magazine. The story was about an old woman who deeply wished to visit Kashi, a holy place believed to bring spiritual merit. The narrator's grandmother could not read, so every Wednesday the narrator read the episode aloud to her. In the novel, the old woman saved money for years to fulfill her dream of going to Kashi. However, there was also a poor orphan girl who needed money for her wedding. In the end, the old woman sacrificed her dream and gave away her savings to help the girl. The happiness of the orphan girl was more important than worshiping at Kashi. The grandmother became deeply attached to the story. She identified herself with the old woman in the novel because she too had never gone to Kashi. She would eagerly wait every week to know what happened next. One day, the narrator went to attend a wedding in a neighboring village and stayed there for about a week. She enjoyed the freedom and fun of the celebration. When she returned home, she was shocked to see her grandmother crying. She had never seen her cry before. That night, under the moonlight, her grandmother explained the reason. The grandmother told her that she had lost her mother at a young age. In those days, girls were not sent to school, so she never learned to read or write. She had always regretted it. When the magazine arrived during the narrator's absence, she opened it but could not read anything. She felt helpless and dependent. What is the use of money if I cannot be independent? The grandmother then made a firm decision. She said that she wanted to learn the Kannada alphabet and become independent. She set herself a deadline. By Dasada, she would read a novel on her own. The narrator laughed at her 62-year-old grandmother for wanting to learn the alphabet. However, the grandmother confidently replied that with determination, any obstacle can be overcome and that there is no age limit for learning. From the next day onwards, the narrator became her teacher. The grandmother worked extremely hard. She practiced reading and writing every day with great dedication. Slowly but steadily, she improved. The narrator later realized that this was her first experience as a teacher. On the day of Saraswati Puja during Dasara, her grandmother called her to the puja place and made her sit down on a stool. She gave her a gift of frock material. Following that, her grandmother surprised everyone by touching her granddaughter's feet. The narrator was surprised and taken aback. She explained that she was not touching the feet of her granddaughter, but of her teacher. The narrator returned her namaskara to her by touching her feet and gifted her grandmother the copy of Kashi Yatre, which had been published as a novel by that time. She read the title of the book and the publisher's name fluently. The narrator felt proud because her first student had passed with flying colors. This story teaches us that there is no age limit for learning. Education gives independence and self-respect. Determination and strong willpower can help us overcome any obstacle. Education is true freedom.